The second Auston Matthews and Mitch Marner put pen to paper on their contract extensions that were absolutely mammoth-sized, they must have known it was going to come with a ton of scrutiny, especially if they didn't produce results and go on deep playoff runs year after year. And guess what? They haven't. So now in Toronto, and honestly in the whole NHL, I don't want to just say, oh, it's only the Toronto media. No, this is an NHL-wide thing, quote-unquote, taking less to win. And people like to point to Patrice Bergeron, who took less to win. Brad Marchand took less to make the Bruins better. Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, I mean, those two are less fair because there's non-existent state tax in Florida. But still, people like to point to these guys and be like, see, they won because they didn't take all the money that they could have, and then their team was able to build a better roster around them. And Mitch Marner really doesn't help his case with this being in every single commercial known to man, but there's been a narrative floating around with these two guys that, oh, they don't care about winning, they just care about being superstars and making a ton of money. And Brian Hayes on Overdrive spoke to this a few days ago. And he didn't mention Matthews and Marner by name, but he did say that there's a lot of key players on the Toronto Maple Leafs who are more focused on business than winning. And it sets a culture within the team where you got four players making 50% of the salary cap. And they compared this to 10 years ago when Patrice Bergeron needed a new deal and his agent said, hey, Patrice, you can go and get $9.5 million here. But then he was like, nah, I want to win some more cups. I'm going to take $6.5 instead. And they end up settling on $6.8 million, which apparently inspired other guys to take less to win. And that helped lead them to the finals twice more after 2011 and go on a few really deep playoff runs. So again, it's very clear here who the fingers pointed at with these types of comments. I mean, if you're saying things like, oh, they care more about business than winning, obviously the eyes are going to go right to the guys who are making over $10 million per season and didn't sign for the max term 8 years but are being walked right to UFA without giving any of their UFA years to Leafs and are in every single commercial on TV. And I don't know, man, I'm not going to come out here and completely fall on the sword and defend Auston Matthews and Mitch Marner because, yeah, clearly it doesn't help the team that they took way more money than they could have. But also, can you really fault a guy for wanting to get the bag? Like, I know a lot of us like to think that we would take less if we were in their situations, but if we actually were, how many of us actually would? I mean, probably a lot less than are saying it on the internet. But on the same token, the criticism is totally fair. Don't get me wrong on that. If you're going to take that big piece of the pie and you're going to lose in the playoffs and, hey, for a lot of times, not show up to the best of your abilities at all, and you're going to go out and do all the Bet 99 and skip the dishes commercials, you're going to get it flung at you from every direction. And look, it's not like the Leafs have had to ice a bunch of beer leaguers and James Neal out there. Like, they've been able to go out and get some really good players over the years to complement these guys. Like, especially this past trade deadline, Kyle Dubas went absolutely sicko mode, getting everyone and everything he could to complement these guys in the playoffs. Except a goalie. And it's nuts, because you could talk to 10 Leaf fans on the street and you'll get 10 different answers about why the Leafs can't win. Like, you get one guy who say they're too soft, the top guys make too much money, they're not surrounding the top guys with the right players, trade Nylander, trade Marner, they need a goalie. Like, you'll get it from every direction. So I'm not sure if it's completely fair to hone in on, oh no, it's because the culture is about business, not about winning. That's why they're losing. I think, hey, like I said, there's a bunch of different things that you could point to and say that's why. Now again, it is a factor for sure. If the Leafs had $2 or $4 million of extra cap space because Matthews Marner took less, of course that would help them win. But I don't think that is the issue. And now the juicy part. Let me know what you think the reason is in the comments down below, why the Leafs can't seem to get over the hump and get to be a winning team here, and how would you fix them? Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. This should be good.